For years, the tech community has boldly declared that this is finally the year of the Linux desktop. Yet year after year, most of us stay firmly planted right where we are. But one tech creator decided they'd finally had enough, taking a massive plunge with their main machine.
Longest time, suggesting you were going to wipe your main computer and switch to an alternative OS kinda meant you were either a massive tech nerd, a glutton for punishment, or maybe a little bit of both. But the landscape is shifting dramatically right now, and the pain points of sticking with the status quo are pushing everyday users to their absolute limits.
So, Section 1, the big tech problem, frustrations with modern operating systems.
To really understand why someone would risk their entire digital setup, we have to look at the massive, incredibly frustrating walled gardens we've all been trapped in. The creator we're following today basically reached a boiling point with modern operating systems, specifically when it comes to the loss of true software ownership and the increasing lack of control over our own hardware. On one side, you have Windows. The creator points out the endless cycle of mediocre updates, the increasing privacy breaches, and all that AI-bloated nonsense that nobody even asked for. Worse still, you literally can't even complete a basic PC setup process without an internet connection and a Microsoft account. Then, on the flip side, we have macOS. Sure, it runs smoothly, the ecosystem is undeniably beautiful, but it assumes you are completely fine with a totally closed hardware ecosystem. You can't upgrade it, you can't replace parts, and when it's time for a new one, you're forced to pay a massive premium to a single source. And if you're a gamer, yeah, forget about it. It's notoriously at the very bottom of Apple's priority list. Which brings us to this number, $120. I really want you to think about the absurdity of this for a second. Let's say you want to upgrade the hardware in your custom Windows PC, right? You buy a new processor and a new motherboard to get better frame rates in your games. Well, congratulations, you've just entered what the creator calls the hardware casino. There's a very real, non-zero chance that changing those core physical components will completely break the digital Windows license key that you already paid for. So you're then forced to fork over another $120 just to reinstall the operating system you already own, simply because you dared to upgrade your own hardware.
The crucial takeaway here is this. The old days of true software ownership are just gone. The creator expresses this deep longing for the era when you could just go out, purchase your software, and it was simply yours. No forced online accounts, no fragile digital license keys secretly tied to your motherboard, no mandatory internet connections just to turn your computer on. You had the total freedom to change your hardware without dealing random damage to your wallet. And that freedom has been systematically erased by big tech.
Which leads us to Section 2, the Linux alternative. The open source dream meets reality.
If the tech giants are letting us down, why not turn to the open source dream? Let's take a look at what this alternative actually offers, and then, we'll immediately address the massive historical elephant in the room that's kept people away for decades. But on paper, Linux is the ultimate antidote to everything we just complained about. It's completely free and open source. Because of its nature, there are dozens of robust, capable options out there. There are absolutely no expensive license keys to worry about when you upgrade your motherboard. You aren't forced to create an online account just to log into your own machine. And there are no corporate servers constantly running in the background tattletaling on everything you've been up to. It is a liberating, privacy-respecting alternative. But here's the reality check, the gaming bottleneck. Why hasn't everyone switched by now? Well, software limitations. Because Linux has historically taken up such a tiny fraction of the market share, developers, who, let's face it, are in the business of making money, have zero financial incentive to dedicate an entire development pipeline to create native Linux versions of their software. This is especially brutal for gamers. The list of native Linux games has historically been virtually non-existent compared to the rest of the market. So for the gaming community, Linux has always been a notoriously hard sell. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is Section 3. Valve changes the game, the technological breakthrough of 2018.
Remember that seemingly impossible gaming bottleneck we just talked about? Well, it was suddenly shattered. Enter Proton. Back in 2018, Valve, the massive gaming company behind Steam, set off a seismic shift in the market. They released this fancy tool called Proton. Think of Proton as a real-time universal translator. It takes the specific Windows DirectX calls from a game and, completely on the fly, converts them into Vulkan, which is a language readily understood by Linux machines. It's practically a magic trick. This single tool opened the floodgates, instantly granting Linux users access to dozens and eventually thousands of previously unplayable games. And the best part? It usually just works without any complicated setup whatsoever. And Proton was really just the beginning. After its release in 2018, Valve hit the industry with a one-two punch, the Steam Deck. This incredibly popular handheld gaming PC is, at its core, a Linux machine running SteamOS. Because of Proton, it can play almost any game you throw at it. The massive success of the Steam Deck over the last few years has proved that Linux gaming is not only viable, but highly profitable. It was so successful that today, we're seeing major competitors like the Lenovo Legion Go actually shipping with SteamOS instead of Windows, simply to get better performance. The landscape has entirely flipped.
All right, moving to Section 4, the 12-month challenge, the year of Linux experiment. With all of this incredible advancement, the creator asked themselves, is it finally time to cast aside the walled gardens of Microsoft and Apple once and for all? Their answer was a resounding yes. But as they humorously put it, I poured my blood, my sweat, my tea into their current rig. So the creator is actually using their beloved, custom-built main gaming rig for this high-stakes 12-month challenge. This isn't some side laptop or a spare junker PC they found in the closet. This is the machine they built with their own two hands. It's their baby. So taking this main rig and subjecting it to experimental software changes every single month is a massive, incredibly risky sacrifice in the name of discovery.
And because there are dozens of Linux versions to choose from, the plan is pretty wild. Here are the uncompromising rules of the challenge. 1. 12 months, 12 different Linux distributions. 2. At the beginning of every single month, they will completely strip back and wipe their desktop PC. 3. Absolutely no virtual machines. 4. Absolutely no dual booting. Whatever they install is legitimately what they are forced to use full-time for that entire month. No half measures allowed.
Of course, while there are no half measures, you don't jump out of an airplane without a reserve parachute, right? While the main mission is legitimate, full-time Linux use, the creator has established some strict emergency safeguards. They have a complete backup of their Windows machine ready to go, and they have their trusty MacBook on standby. Now, they are explicitly tracking how often they use these backups, and the goal, the absolute hope, is that the number of times they use them remains exactly 0.
Section 5, Month 1, Fedora Linux, spinning the wheel of operating systems.
So, the stage is totally set. The rules are locked in. But how do you choose which of the dozens of Linux distributions to start with? To keep things fair and just remove human bias, the creator decided to start month 1 with a little bit of chaos. They created a randomizer wheel. Step 1, spin the wheel. Step 2, the wheel lands on Fedora Linux. Now, the creator admitted they only knew it by name and had no idea how good it actually is as a home operating system, but hey, that's the whole point of the challenge. Step 3, wipe the PC and install Fedora. Step 4, they got their shiny new Fedora machine fully set up and running by July 9th.
Which brings us to the ultimate cliffhanger on our final slide today. Will Fedora actually survive the demands of a high-end, custom-built gaming rig for a full month? Will it smoothly handle the day-to-day tasks, or will it just crash and burn, forcing the creator to deploy that dreaded Windows backup in shame? The year of Linux has officially begun, the main PC has been completely wiped, and there is no turning back now. What do you